Good evening, everybody. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast. On a Monday evening, it must be time for your weekly Calamity Jane live stream. Sorry, I'm negotiating my dog right now. She
Oh
decided.
wow, Penny really wants to jump in on our
Oh,
stream.
she is obsessed with being aware of what's happening around her, especially when I'm talking and I'm not talking to her.
Oh yeah,
She wonders why. She needs to know exactly the reason
yeah.
why I'm talking but not speaking to her. Yes, isn't that right?
She can get away with it. She has such a lovable face that
Oh yeah, she gets
she can pretty
basically
much.
yeah, she gets away with anything. I mean,
Yeah,
she's the most
I
spoiled animal that ever lived on the face of the planet.
yeah yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
how are you doing on this? Apparently, it's relatively chilly in the Los Angeles area right now.
I went for I try to do a walk every morning. And it was two days ago, 2 mornings ago. It was. I was like, wow, is it me? Am I just getting California blood, or is it cold?
Yeah,
I looked at my temperature on my watch, and it was 44 degrees, and
that is
that's cold
cold for Los
for
Angeles.
LA.
Holy moly!
I was in shorts and just like a shirt like this. I was like, I'm an idiot. Like, what? I should have checked the temperature, I guess, but
Wow.
I didn't think I was living in Utah. Like, what the heck's going on here?
It's
But then,
yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, no, that's it. Like, and I was on my way to get coffee, and I was trapped. I was halfway through, and I realized I was cold, and I was like, I can't. I walked back. It's pointless because I'm already cold anyway, and I'm gonna get sick. I'm gonna get sick at this point. So I just went through it. They got my my terrible, cheap 7-Eleven coffee. Came back, and it was still, still cold. With
That's
all that.
crazy. It's warmer here. I mean, last Friday it was or last Thursday and Friday was in the mid 60s, low 70s, and
Hmm.
then now it's in the mid 50s. But like this is Georgia. It's unseasonably warm for this time of year, even for Georgia, honestly.
Hmm.
So the fact that LA is colder than Georgia is shocking. It's absolutely shocking.
Yeah, and as the sun rose, like this is around 7:30 in the morning. It was 44. By about like on my way back from the walk, I was back about 8:15 or so. I was around 50 to 55 ish, and it
Okay.
got more tolerable, right? So,
Right,
but
right, right.
still, 7:30 in the morning at 44 degrees is still.
Yeah,
I wasn't.
that's
Yeah,
pretty chilly. I mean, for LA,
just
period. I mean,
yeah,
that's yeah.
it's just on the cusp of having seen your breath when you're breathing and stuff.
Mhm.
Like a few more
Mhm.
degrees, then you start getting into like yeah. But I thought like I was getting kind of spoiled as I get older. Like, man, I mean, my Utah blood's gone. But no, apparently not. No, I can pick it up still, and I can know when it's actually cold for a human. And 44 is kind of cold for most humans out there, I
That's
think.
funny. Yeah, well, I mean, I learn new things every day. This is apparently for the ladies sweatpants weather. Did you know that apparently women love men in ugly, baggy sweatpants with elastic ankles and elastic waistbands?
No, I did not
I
know that
I
at
have
all.
had four women in 1 week tell me how excited they are for sweatpants weather. Actually, I think it's more than that.
Wow.
Anyway, it is ridiculous. This is apparently a thing. Like I'm on Amazon right now shopping for sweatpants. I hate
More power to
sweatpants. I
you.
hate sweatpants.
You know
But
what's funny is yeah, in my younger days when I used to play basketball, I used to play in sweatpants all the time.
when I was, in my 20s and a teenager, sweatpants is like that's what old grandpas wore.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you walked around in sweatpants, it meant you were like 60 years old, and now like it's the hot item.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I used to wear sweatpants to protect my knees. No ladies were
No.
knocking on the door at all.
Mm-mm.
Just
No.
skin my
No.
knees. Yeah,
But
but
no, I had
but hey,
I
more power to you though. Like it's
yeah, I
true.
mean, why not? So I'm buying a couple, and that must be the magic ticket. That must be what it was, and why I've been so lousy with dates this year. Um, is I'm not wearing enough sweatpants.
Yeah, I guess you gotta add to your wardrobe.
I mean, like we went. I just don't understand. I guess I'm just getting old. Like I went to a movie with some friends, and it was like three women because everybody canceled except these three girls, and then one of the girls' boyfriends, um, and they started talking about sweatpants weather, and her boyfriend wore sweatpants to the movie theater, and I remember seeing him going, dude, put on some actual pants. Like, what's wrong with you? But no, that was the desired ensemble. Like he was the
he's trained.
yeah.
He
I was
knows.
the one in the wrong by wearing
Yeah,
well-fitted jeans and a
too formal.
yeah, exactly, like jeans that are
Too
not yeah.
formal.
It's a weird world, man. It's a weird world that there's
Yeah.
nobody right or wrong. Like it's just weird to think that when I was growing up, those exact same pants made you the epitome of uncool. And now it's like the ladies love it.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny. Well, like I said, more power to you. Let's keep me posted on how this affects your social life going forward
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
next season.
Meanwhile,
That's
women's
cool.
fashions are going in that same direction, but for mom jeans, I just can't I
Mm.
can't get behind mom jeans. And the reason I can't get behind them is because they're called mom jeans. Like those are the jeans
Oh,
my mother wore when I was a child.
I guess yeah.
It's like you
Again,
want to make me less interested. You keep looking like my mom. You do it. You got this. Look just like my mom. Yeah.
that was kind of confusing to me because I don't know if you remember that pop singer Jessica Simpson. She was popular for
Vaguely.
about
Yeah.
5 minutes or something, but she kind of brought back mom jeans for a little bit. I thought she did.
I
Like,
mean, I'm not an expert on the origins of
no,
resurgence of fashion
no.
trends,
I
but
just remember hearing
this
the term mom jeans
yeah, I mean,
before,
the
like
sooner
10,
mom
15 years
jeans
ago.
die, the better. I mean, I remember like SNL, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, they did a whole sketch, like one of their famous SNL commercials about mom jeans. I mean, it's an absolute
Oh,
riot. And
really?
I
Oh,
thought
okay.
society had completely agreed that this was a horrible idea that we should never try again.
Oh, well, what's terrible becomes fashionable. Like that's
Yeah,
kind of the
everything is
rule.
cyclical, right?
Yeah, definitely. You run out of ideas and they just recycle the past.
Yeah,
Kind of the deal.
absolutely.
I've noticed that tie dyes kind of
Yeah,
here
tie
and
dye's
there.
kind of a thing. I've
Yeah.
seen like the newest thing is jeggings, or not jeggings specifically, but yoga pants with flare on the bottom. So it's sort of like remember bell bottom jeans, and then they
Yeah. Yeah.
rebranded them flare jeans. I'm seeing a lot more
Yeah.
yoga pants with bell
With
bottoms now.
flares?
Yeah, it's
What?
really weird. It is a
Oh,
weird
interesting. You got to
one.
keep an eye. That's really funny. Okay.
I mean, the ankles aren't really the most thing that I'm looking for anyway. So if it's baggy around the ankles, I'm not worried about it. But still.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, to shift gears in
Oh,
an
really?
awkward
You don't want to
transition.
stick with fashion?
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll into my drawing. We'll keep going back into awkward conversation about other
Okay, all
stuff
right.
too.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
All right, so I will share screen. Okay,
All
so here
right.
we are. We last left off. We had Mitchell pouring some drinks, and he's gonna slam this cup down, and that's where I'm at. I'm gonna do this pose tonight.
Okay.
Him slamming the drink down, and yeah. So I'll just recycle what I can from our previous poses here, and we'll try to get this pose done by the end of our stream tonight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe do a
Cool.
little animation in there too. But yeah. So while I'm doing this, you were mentioning over the weekend you went to a casino to go and live the high life or something, or
I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it the high life, but I did. It was my friend's 30th birthday,
okay,
and so we went up to Harrah's, which is in Cherokee, North Carolina. It's on an Indian reservation,
okay,
and had a great time. I lost $240, but I could have
okay,
lost 360. But I made some of it back, so my losses were only $240.
okay.
So I consider that a moral victory. I think I got there for the most part, where I needed to go. Um, but I had a great time. I had great company. They rented an Airbnb up in the mountains, a little bit of ways, like about a half hour outside of the casino. And then we crashed, we drank, we played poker, we just had a great time. I mean, it was a really fun time. I really enjoyed myself. It is Casinos are for me a very constantly fascinating study in the human condition, for lack of a better word.
What do
Um,
you just like what the condition of people that are into gambling? Like
yeah,
what do you
specifically
mean?
in the gambling, but to a broader, more generalized point, just humanity in general. And you know, I look at these people playing the slot machines, and your first stand, for me, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but my first thought is, I pity them because they're sitting there, they're slovenly, they're mindlessly pressing buttons on a screen in the hopes of getting a payday that will never come. But then I think about it, I'm like, I'm not really that different. Um,
I was just gonna say I'm the same. I was
it's
gonna,
just my poison is slightly different, right? I
yeah,
mean, and then
yeah.
it changes from pity to sympathy because they're just trying to escape in the same way that I'm trying to escape, right? But I'm bleeding
Yeah.
out slightly slower, right? I bleed out when I spend $60 on a game that I end up hating,
Uh
right?
huh.
Or $15 on a movie that I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
But for every like stinker of a game, then I'll get something really good, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you hit the jackpot. Um, but it's interesting that their chosen form of escape is gambling, and it's a real shame because it's bleeding them dry. I mean, like the house always wins. Like that saying exists because it's true, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But then like even then I start thinking, well, okay, sure, but again, I have no potential to win money when I pay $60 on a video game. What I'm getting out of it is pleasure, right?
Mhm.
And sure, my hobby is on aggregate probably cheaper than their hobby, but so what if the casino gets the money? It's no different than me giving Nintendo my money for a video game, right?
Mhm.
The only problem is like anything when you are incapable of doing it in moderation. Because I think the other instinct too is you go and you look at these people and you just it's weird how your knee jerk reaction is to assume that they're sitting in that chair every day, 7 days a week. How do they even make money? They're just blowing through their social security check, yada 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 yada, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But I don't know that. I
No, you're making an assumption. Yeah, sure.
yeah,
I mean,
and
that's what. Yeah, but we do that as humans anyway. We always that's our
mm-hmm,
thing is we kind of want to kind of put a story to something and try to rationalize, understand what's going on with the behavior, right?
mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
So.
and I'm such a people watcher, and I just immediately tell
Mhm.
stories about people. But then you have to stop yourself, and I'm like, well, I guess that could be true. I guess that they could be one of those people who are, you know, that they do exist, right? I mean, gambling addiction is a real thing, but it's probably more likely that they're just there for the weekend. They've got a budget that they're spending. They're going to use it to escape a little bit. If they walk out and they lose whatever their budget is, then oh well, they had their escape for a while. And sometimes, you know what? They're going to walk up on top, right? But it is
Hmm.
so weird. It is so weird that our initial instinct is to immediately pass judgment on everybody you see that is outside of your very narrow, limited world experience,
Hmm.
right? And you really, I mean, it really took an actual mental effort to stop myself from mindlessly judging these strangers who did nothing to me other than exist, right?
Yeah.
It's so weird, and and I got there, and I stopped myself, and I, 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 I went, wow, that was really dumb, right? But it's frustrating that that's still your knee jerk reaction sometimes.
So wait, what? I don't know if you. I don't know. It feels like you're kind of being hard on yourself a little bit. I mean, it doesn't like you. I don't think you were. From what you're telling me, it doesn't sound like you were admonishing them. You were sort of just trying to rationalize what their behavior was, and it wasn't. It doesn't seem like you were coming from a place where you were tilting your nose at them, or were you?
I
Because
mean,
it doesn't
I
seem
think I
like.
was. I mean, I was looking
Oh,
at them
okay.
like, oh, how sad, right?
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think I was.
Okay.
Um, um, but you sit there and you go, you have no information on these people. You don't know what their experience is. You don't know why they're
Hmm.
here. You don't even know how long they've been there, right? I mean, and even if they were there for 17 hours, I mean, I've done gaming bin sessions for, I mean, maybe not that long, but you know, um, and in hell, the friends that I went, a couple people like were, a couple of our group were there all night. They played all night, right? They met
Hmm.
us the
Hmm.
following morning on our way out the door, and we weren't judging them, right? Especially
Yeah.
given that
Yeah.
one of them walked away $1,100 up.
Oh wow, good
Yeah,
good for them. And
yeah,
this is where the human condition kicks in. Where yep, I know I can do that too. You
yep,
hear the stories. I know I
yep,
can do that. I'm stay here until I can hit it.
yep.
And then that dopamine thing hits when you hit the little, ding 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 thing, and you know, um, yeah, and then that's their video. That's their video game addiction for the moment.
I mean,
In a way.
it was actually, I think it was my friends who decided to stay that snapped me out of it because I know these people and they're good people. And
Uh-huh.
for
Yeah.
one weekend, they chose to spend all night at the poker tables, right? And I didn't judge them. I
Mhm.
didn't think anything about it. It's like, it's their money. It's their weekend. Good for them,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, wait, how can I reasonably admonish these strangers who are playing slots, right, and having a good
Mhm.
time, and then not pass that same judgment on my friends? And the only difference is I know my friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it's always frustrating when you catch yourself being a hypocrite like that. And I guess I can give myself not a pat on the back per se, but at least some slack, in as much as at least I went, wow, that was really stupid. I need to not think like that, right?
Yeah, that was good. You had a moment of self reflection. That's really nice in that way. Um, yeah, I mean, there, I don't know if anything. With our weekly stream, we do weekly doses of hypocrisy all the time. So
Well, sure.
it
I
always
mean,
it always keeps just even in our casual stuff. We always have our hypocrisy that keeps us in check with all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I mean that is cool that you were able to step outside yourself and just see and catch the maybe I shouldn't be doing that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's, what is it? It's the old saying, there's only two constants in life, death and taxes. Well, I'm going to add hypocrisy to that list because everybody does it, and I think goes back into that larger sort of original sin of tribalism, right?
Mhm.
It is human beings are hardwired to other people,
Yeah.
and it goes back to the most basic evolutionary um, survival instincts, where if you had a tribe and there was another tribe and you were hunting the same herd of animal. Oh, apparently I'm invisible.
I see it, but
Yeah,
maybe on your side you're.
yeah. Jeff, our friend Jeff is watching the stream live right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wait, yeah, I'm not showing up on the. I'm not showing up on our view. It's just you for some reason. I don't know why.
That's that's odd. I see myself screen sharing. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the
Like
screen. Everything is fine. The only thing that's not showing up this week is me.
you.
Yeah,
You're just this ominous voice just booming at me
I am
while
in.
this
Yeah,
lowly animator is just kind of trying to doodle some stuff. Huh?
that is exactly right. Yeah, that is exactly what's going on.
That's so weird. I mean, I can see you. I see you pensively looking with your hand thoughtfully on your chin.
Yeah, yeah, but for
I see
whatever
your
reason,
Yeah, I saw your avatar for a second, and then yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, that's
yeah.
weird.
Well, I mean, yeah, that does it. I'm gonna go watch cat videos instead. Yeah, that might be the right choice, Jeff.
Um, well, I don't
But
know whether we should. I mean, I could.
it's all right. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Our pictures are always like little small icons in the upper right hand corner of the screen anyway.
sure,
The
sure.
main
But you know
view
what it
is.
is? It's the QA in me that wants to solve the issue or try to figure out how to repeat the bug and destroy the bug. That's what's going on for
Sure,
me.
but you're
Now I
you're an
want to
you're
figure
an
it
animal. You're not an. I said animal and I meant tester. I love that. So speaking about exposing hypocrisy,
out.
you're an
Yeah,
animator now, not a tester. So do your
sure.
job, monkey, and dance for us.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know what to. Back to the whole casino thing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's good that like I said, it's good that you noticed that. Um, and now I don't know. I mean, as you walked away from the casino and you lost a little bit of money. Other than that, that was your one lesson you took away from that weekend, from your weekend. Is pretty
Uh,
much.
you know, I wasn't really looking to learn any lessons and life lessons in particular. So I guess in as much as I learned life lessons, yeah, that was it. But No, I mean, I had actually never played Hold'em in an actual casino environment before. I mean, I've been playing Hold'em for
Okay.
years at this point, but it's always just been friends and house games, right?
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
the lesson I learned from casinos is I figure out which game gives me money, and I like that game until I lose all my money. That was what I was kind of trying to herd you into that stupid assessment that I do when I go to casinos. But
well,
yeah, I've
I
never.
go in with a budget, and I go,
Mhm.
okay, I'm gonna lose this much money, and then that's it, right? And if I happen
Yeah,
to come
that's
out
good.
on top, great, but otherwise, I'm just going to take what I've got and spend it. And if I spend it all, then it's gone. And if I walk out on top, then I walk out on top. I mean, that's basically my attitude.
Hmm. So it's never predicated on which game you're winning.
No, I mean, I
You'll
don't.
actually you'll change midstream between a game, like, hey, I'm gonna play blackjack now instead of
Well,
Texas Hold'em.
no, I don't play anything but Hold'em. Like, I don't like
Hmm.
blackjack. I don't like slots. I don't like craps. I don't like.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't see. I don't like gambling. It's not just. It's not because I have a moral problem with gambling. I don't have a moral problem with gambling. If that's how you want to spend your
Yeah,
money, knock
yeah,
yourself
yeah.
out, man. I think that's great.
Sure, sure.
Um, no, I have a problem with gambling because I have really bad luck, and
Yeah,
and blackjack and roulette and craps and slots. It's all luck, right? I've never won a nickel doing any of those games. I go in with $100. Pick a game. It doesn't matter, and I will never win in my entire life. In the years, and I lived in Seattle for a long time, and there are plenty of casinos up there, right?
hmm hmm
I've been to casinos numerous times, tried my hands at all of them. Never have I ever won anything gambling. I have really bad luck. Always have. Um, And poker, though, there is luck, but honestly, it's mostly skill, right? Especially in a game like Hold'em, where you have all of these community cards that everybody is sharing. It it reduces just sort of the randomness of it because everybody is sort of playing with the at least partially the same hand, right?
hmm hmm
And you look at really good players, and when they win, it's not luck. I mean, it is skill. And it's not just skill. It's knowing when your luck isn't coming in, right?
hmm
And everybody has a bad day, but you can say that about literally anything with a modicum of chaos. Sports, right? The best team in the world can lose a game they shouldn't
Yeah,
have lost because
sure.
sometimes the cards just aren't in your favor. But I don't. I really don't consider. I don't feel like poker is luck. I think it is. It's there's a lot of calculation. There's a lot of cost benefit analysis. There's statistics. There's strategy. Right. There's mind games that you play with other people. Right.
Yeah,
And
there's a
and it,
whole bunch of stuff going on.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, you can take a bad hand and win a lot of money on it if you know how to play that hand. Right.
yeah.
So, I actually have won money playing poker for that very reason.
What do
But
you
I've
think your
never ever won money gambling ever in my life.
So you consider wait, so you said you won money at poker, which in my head is gambling, but then you said you didn't win money at gambling.
Well,
So
I don't
you
consider
say,
poking gambling, so I'm
yeah, you
drawing a
don't,
distinction
yeah.
between the two of them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
there is an
Poker's
aspect of a
fascinating.
gamble in poker,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's an
That's
aspect of a gamble in baseball, right?
yeah, sure,
You know,
sure.
there's an aspect of gamble in basically everything that you do in your life. It's when it is essentially complete luck, is when it's gambling. Craps is basically complete luck. Roulette is basically complete luck. I mean, you can change your odds slightly. Roulette, you can do safe bets, you can do dangerous bets, etc., etc., right? But at the end of the day, it is complete luck. Um, you can't fake out the roulette wheel dealer or whatever. You
Hmm.
can't fake out the blackjack dealer, right? There are very specific rules about how blackjack is played, and it's played exactly the same every time, and it is completely random, right?
Well,
Um,
Yeah, I'm just trying to,
There
this is
are
mainly.
some strategies, right? You can double down on blackjack. You can split if you've got an opportunity. They've got there's extra bonus rules that some tables let you play with blackjack. But at the end of the day, it's all still luck. There's no real strategy other than don't go 21. And the closer you are to 21, the greater chance you have of going over, right?
But isn't there with blackjack? To me, it's a this this is it's actually fascinating to me. Like thinking about this because I'm with you on poker being there's more of a skill there with poker, but there is still so much chance and luck with it.
I mean, there's so much
I don't.
chance and luck with baseball or golf. The winds could change mid-stroke, right?
Yeah,
But
but
no
you
one
now
considers golfing gambling, though.
yeah, because I think the reason why with golf is because if you have enough experience and you understand the wind, you can play it and you understand the skill to maneuver around it and still. And then as long as your muscle memory's right and your your experience points that you built up playing against that particular wind or the grass, and the green is typically the same for the most part except for the topography. You know all that. That's why you play the same courses every year. You will get good at that. Like the gamble is not the same. The hole doesn't change. The hole's always in the same spot. For example, I don't know, like
Okay, well let me
the
give you
basic.
another analogy then. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
let's take roulette. Guy who's been
yeah,
playing roulette for 50 years
yeah,
is just as likely to win or lose as a guy who's walked up to a roulette table for the very first time.
uh-huh.
A guy who's played poker for 50 years will never lose to a guy who sat up down at the table for the first time. Won't happen.
So you don't think that can happen?
No, I've I have done it to people. I have played in games where someone's like, "Well, I've played Hold'em once before," and yeah, they'll
Hmm.
get beginner's luck sometimes. It will happen
Yeah,
from time to time where they'll
yeah.
they'll win a hand because the river threw them an ace and no one saw it coming. I mean that
Hmm.
luck. There is always luck involved, right? But I have sat down at tables um, um, where another person sits down. It's almost their first time playing. Within a couple of hands, I can tell when they're bluffing. I can tell when they actually have something.
Hmm.
I know how to
Yeah, that's where the
manipulate
skill is. Yeah,
them. Yeah, I know how to
yeah.
manipulate them into raising so I can get more money out of them because I already know that I have them beat. I don't technically know what cards they have, but I know they don't have a pocket queens.
Yeah.
I know that they don't have suited cards, right? And you can tell this by the way they bet, by
Yeah.
even just physical tells and things like that, right?
Okay, so let's use basketball for example. Somebody who's never played basketball before in their life is not gonna beat Shaq,
No, they're not going to
no
be
matter
Shaq.
no matter what.
Right.
It's
I'm never going to
you
be
know,
Tiger Woods, right? Like it's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
But if
But
Tiger Woods and
yeah,
if Tiger Woods had been playing roulette for 10 years and I had walked up to the roulette table for the first
yeah,
time, we have
yeah.
just exactly the same odds of winning. It doesn't matter how many
But
times.
here's the thing. Like if Shaq sat down at the poker table with you and said he never played poker in his life, he still has a chance to beat you, even though you have any more hours of playing poker. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. I understand the skills
Well,
of
no, no,
understand.
no. I mean,
Like that's
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know how much Shaq has played, but let's assume that Shaq
yeah,
has
yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
played poker before.
Uh-huh.
If he
Yeah, I'm
sat
sure
down
he
at the
has. Yeah.
table, I'm pretty sure I could beat Shaq at poker. I've played poker a lot more than he
Of
has
course,
in
I
this
was
in
still
this scenario,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, I would still if I was a betting man on the outside, I would still put money on you. But the chances of him beating you are much higher than if you were to play him in basketball and beat him. You know what I mean? Like I'm
That's
trying to.
but okay, but we should like make it even. Let's take me out of the equation. All right,
Okay.
let's put
Yeah.
the last champion of the World Series of Poker in there. Yeah, Shaq's
Okay.
going to beat him for sure in poker, but the
No, no, in
champion of World
basketball.
Series of in basketball.
Yeah,
But if
yeah, yeah,
they've were to play poker, the champion of World Series of Poker is absolutely going to beat Shaq. Absolutely, 100%.
yeah. I guess I'll have to take your
I
because
think.
again
I mean,
the
obviously, I have not done any research on this. I haven't done
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
statistical analysis, but I've
This is
seen
more
the
of a
way
faith.
professional players play.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just it's the whole point of when the cars get thrown into the river or whatever, you don't know what's there, and you just don't know what Shaq would be holding at
No, you
that
can get
point.
a
And
bet break. That happened to me
yeah,
on Saturday actually. So there were three tens on a board, so there's trip tens
mm-hmm,
on the board, right?
mm-hmm,
And I bet
mm-hmm.
and I had an ace in my hand, so I had trip tens with an ace in the pocket, in my hand,
I
and
don't know all the poker lingo, and for me it'll
okay,
be benefit for
okay,
me
so
and for
there's
other
so
people.
there in Hold'em you have the flop, which is the three initial cards. So
Okay.
everybody is dealt two cards face down, and those are their private
Mm-hmm.
cards.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the community cards, and the first round of betting, you get the flop, which is three cards down, face up. And those are the community cards, and everybody is trying to build a five-card hand based on
Yeah,
the
like a
community
full
cards and the
house, for
two cards in their
example.
hand, right?
Like a
And
full house, for
yeah,
example.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Okay, so the flop comes, and it's a pair of tens on the board. I have an ace, so I'm not in a bad position, right? I have a high card with a pretty high pair on the board.
Okay. Uh-huh.
The turn comes, which is in the next round of betting, you pull another card out, right? The turn comes and it's another 10, so there's three tens on the board. So that's three tens. That's a three of a kind, which is a really good hand. But there are in the flop there were two suited cards, which means there was two clubs. Or no, there was yeah there was two suited cards. And then and I had two suited cards as well. I had an ace of club in my hands plus another ace, and there were two suited cards. So I had a flush draw. So I had four clubs. So all I needed was another club to win, right? So I decided, okay, well do another better round of bettings, right? So
Yeah.
in the last round of bets, it's the river. The fifth community card comes out on the table, right? Now I was on a straight flush draw. What that meant is I had five cards in sequential. I had four cards in sequential order that were all the same suit, and if I got one more card that completed that sequential order, that would have been a straight flush, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Well, I didn't get the straight flush, but on the river I did get the flush, which beats three of a kind.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, I've got this, right? The
Yeah.
odds of
Yeah.
one of the other players with this other player having the 10 was pretty low, right? And he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't because he did have the four of the kind at the turn, right? But he played smart and he didn't push it too hard, so he kind of lulled me into a false sense of confidence there.
Did you know this person?
No, I didn't. This is just a stranger, but it didn't get
Mm.
out of hand. But I had the
Mm-hmm.
flush, and I thought I had really good,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
I would have thought the same. Yeah.
No, actually, no. I take that back. So there was only one 10 on the flop. There was another 10 on... No, there's two tens on the flop. Nothing on the turn, so I thought I was in good shape. Then the river was the final 10, right? So there's trip tens on the river, okay? But by this point on the river, I've got the flush. And so I think, I can beat three tens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I bet, and I'm like, yeah, I've got this one. I bet like I've got it won. The guy says, okay, I call you. I show the flush. I show the flush. He
Mm-hmm.
has the fourth 10. Four of a kind beats a flush. So in that
Yeah.
instance, yeah, it was lucky, right? The river came along, and he gave him four of a kind, which beat my flush. And four of a kind is incredibly rare to have happen.
Yeah. 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 This illustrates like what I mean. Like you have all this. You've built up all this skill. You understand how to play it better than most people that come to the table fresh, right? And then that's
Mm-hmm.
where, and then but then that type of thing is to me happens more. Even though it's rare for poker, it's even more rare in golf to get a hole in one from some rookie never played against Tiger Woods. That's where I guess I'm coming at is I'm with you. I think there's a lot of skill with poker, but
Mm-hmm.
the chances of you being a world champion poker player, you can still lose with no fault of your own because of the fate of the cards being dealt out, and somebody random doesn't know what they're doing, just does it. Whereas in golf or in basketball, they can't I know what I'm doing and shoot a shot, and then they might make that, but it's even more rare than I would say in poker.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing, though.
Mm.
Um, that still happens. It will still happen in other sports. I mean, professional players will miss a three that they've hit 1,000 times before,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, sure.
And why? I don't know. There was a slight breeze from the AC kicking in, or a vuvuzela startled them at the wrong time. I mean, I don't know.
The difference is,
it's
but the difference
possible.
is not,
Like the internal rules of poker have more randomness baked in than the
and that's
internal
the thing
rules of basketball. I will grant you that. I will grant you that. I
The chances
still
of yeah, yeah,
I still
yeah.
don't consider poker gambling because
Mm-hmm.
under most circumstances, if you have the right skill, you'll win.
Yeah, and based on that, again, based on that chance, the chance of that happening, like what happened to you have a story to tell that did happen to you. But
Yeah,
how often does that happen? The amount of times you play poker, once a year. No, maybe
yeah.
once every couple of years or 5 years, but it still happened to you. That's the thing. Like, and I have yet to hear the story where Shaq lost to some guy who's some scrub off the street that walked in and said, "I'm gonna play you one on one," and it's never happened. It'll never happen. I guarantee you, it'll never happen. He'll never lose a game one on one
I guess.
because
I mean, that is true.
because
You're never going to
because
beat Shaq one on one in a game of
you
pickup
never would.
basketball. That is true.
No,
But I mean,
no.
again, though, like if you
Yeah,
had
just
if you cloned Shaq, so you had the same height and the same build and the same natural aptitude, but then
yes,
removed his career experience, I
then
suspect the odds would be a little bit closer, honestly.
oh no, Shaq is so. I don't want to go on a whole NBA rant because I know but Shaq is so skilled as a big man. No, even if you cloned him and you gave him no, he'd be traveling. He'd be called for violations. He wouldn't. Still couldn't do it. He would be fouled out of his situation, or he wouldn't be able to play because he doesn't know how to dribble a basketball. Shaq has so much skill for a big man, even though he's
Yeah.
known for his dunking and stuff like that. I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't stand like I'm a Jazz fan, so Shaq kicked my team's butt all the time. But as a viewer, as a fan, I appreciate his skill set, and he's amazing as a player, especially in his prime. But if you cloned him, it's amazing because you get all the physical attributes, but none of the knowledge to understand how to play. Just like if they cloned you and you put you at the table with poker, there's still a chance that other you might beat you. Well, I was like doing this, hold hands up, but not likely. I would still put my money on you. You know,
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm in agreement with you that I guess the odds are more likely that a scrub could beat a pro.
a scrub Eric could beat you, but I don't think it's likely.
You don't think a
A scrub
scrub Shaq could beat a pro Shaq at all? Like
No,
no
because
zero percent chance. See, that's where I
no.
disagree with you.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah,
But
yeah.
remember, like all the rules of basketball, you can't take more than two steps. Somebody that's never played basketball before will take two
Well,
steps.
okay,
Get caught
okay.
for traveling, like
But
that
there's
type of
rules like
stuff.
that in poker that you can break, right? You can't bet
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
turn. You
yeah,
can't fold out of
yeah,
turn. There's
yeah,
rules about how much you bet and when you can
yeah,
bet.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let's
So
assume that they're not going to break any
there's
of the
some
fundamental foundational
yes.
rules of the
Then there might
sports.
be a chance. Yes, then there could be a chance. You're
Right.
right then on that. Yes.
We're trying.
So then,
Here's the thing. We're taking an apples to oranges comparison and trying to draw an apples to apples conclusion from them.
yeah, that's really funny. I didn't expect this conversation.
No, I
I
was.
didn't
This
expect
was
our.
not where I was going with this tonight. This is
I didn't
not where I
know
was
we were
going
talking
with
about
this tonight.
Shaq or yeah, but again, I'm not. It's like I pretty much am in agreement with you. I just think that yeah, poker is the rare one out of all of them. That there is more. There are more skills, and it's mind-boggling the amount of variables that go into how much you got to know
Mm-hmm.
from just playing the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
With all the luck that's involved, the randomness of people that approach the table. You don't know what their life experience is like, what they bring to the table, and what their tells are, what they're not,
Yeah.
or maybe they're purposely doing a tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
You know um, the thing the reason why I have decided it's not gambling is
Huh?
when we talked about this earlier in this very conversation. When I go to a roulette table, when I go to a slot machine, I have no hope of winning money. I have no expectation of winning money. I don't for 1 second believe that I will do anything but lose money, right?
Uh-huh.
When I sit down at a poker table, I go, okay, I could walk out of here with a little bit of money, right?
Yeah, you feel like you have
I
there's
have
hope,
some
there's
control over
yeah.
it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
I feel like there's zero control in roulettes or craps or blackjack or. I'd say that there's more
It's
control
pure.
potentially. You know, there's degrees of control, right? Roulette, you can identify the amount of risk, right? You can change your odds based on betting on black or betting on red or betting on evens or betting on odds or
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. But it's still I don't feel like when I win something, I don't feel good. It's just like, well, that was just random. One out
Yeah.
of the 1,000 times that I've lost money doing this, and I have zero control over it, right?
Yeah, roulette to me is is pretty much the anti-poker in the casino.
Yeah,
If you want to have some say in your fate, go to the poker table. If you want to just leave it up to nothingness and nature, then you go to roulette and just
yeah,
hope for the best. I mean,
yeah. I
yeah, those
agree. I
are
mean, like for me, in terms of games you can play at casinos, I'd say poker is the most control, most skill based. I'd
mm,
argue that craps or blackjack are probably somewhere down below poker, but not completely random based. I mean,
mm,
if you're good enough with dice, I suspect you can probably develop a technique, or you can. I don't know. I don't know enough
I
about
don't.
craps, honestly, but um,
Yeah, I don't. I don't
you
either.
roll anything but snake eyes, and then that's set your number unless you roll a 7 on your first roll, and then you keep rolling until you hit that number again, right? Like that's the basic rules of craps, and there's a lot of other rules that you can use to raise or lower your odds, but ultimately it's just a random dice roll, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, then you got roulette where you literally have no control. It's another dude or lady putting a ball in a spinning device that bounces around, right? It's
Hmm.
literally how lucky do I feel right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then the slots are just the same as roulette. It's just complete arbitrariness. And in fact, honestly, it's possible that slots are less gambling than roulette for the simple reason that since most slot machines are all digital now and computers are incapable of generating truly random numbers, if you played a slot machine long enough, you could determine its pattern, right? I mean, and now we're getting into just edge lord kind of, you know, this is more of a straw man than an actual argument, but suffice it to say, I think that there is enough skill and enough player determined control that elevates poker from the realm of pure gambling.
No, yeah, and again, yeah,
Your
yeah. It's
mileage will
funny.
vary beyond that, but
Yeah, 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 and that's all that happens. Yeah, with tonight, I'm pretty much in agreement with you. Yeah, exactly what you said. The mileage is just a little bit different. Like I know there's skill, but what drives me nuts about poker is there's still that luck aspect of it that drives me nuts when a rando can show up and ruin your day.
yeah, it happens,
Um,
man. It happens. I mean, sometimes you win big on blind ass luck, and sometimes you lose big. I mean, I've played at tables house games where a new player sits down and just wins like four major hands in a row by blind fucking luck. But
yeah.
part of it is that the players who have been playing with each other for a long time, they know each other's tendencies, they can kind of predict what they're doing, right?
Hmm.
And then you add this new variable into the mix, and you're like, okay, has this guy played before? How much has he played before?
Hmm.
And so you're
Hmm.
kind of testing the waters, and so you maybe even unconsciously play a little bit more conservatively and don't push as hard as you might
Hmm.
otherwise because you're sort of instinctually being a little bit more cautious for a couple of hands. But what I will tell you, it never fails. Even if those people, those new players, walk away with big money that first night, they always, the next time they've come back, the biggest losers I have ever seen are the guys who come in with beginner's luck and then come back the next night and think it's going to happen again. They get cocky. They push too hard, right? They
Yeah.
don't really
Hmm.
understand the psychology of how you play, and so they make moves that they shouldn't make, and then they are the ones who buy in like four times and walk away losing their shirt, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Because they don't understand the psychology of what happened that first night, right? If anything, if you're a new player and you walk away big on the first night, if you're going to play with those same people the second time you come in, you play as cautiously as you possibly can, because by this point the players know you.
Yeah.
They know what you're capable of, they know what you're not capable of. They know how green you are, and they're going to come in with a lot more confidence, and they're going to push you a lot harder because they want their money back, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that is always the case when new players come back for the second time, they always lose their shirt. They always buy in like 3 times.
Yeah, yeah.
And that happened to me. Like I played this one house game up in Seattle. Interestingly, with the guy who bought my house after I sold it. After I sold the house, I'd still drive back to that place to play poker with my friends. And one time, the guy that bought my house actually moved in or came over and played with our buddies. Did a 25 buy-in. Won like 2 or 3 hands, big hands, like right out of the gate, and got super confident.
Mm-hmm.
But then we figured him out like really fast,
no.
and we cleaned him out completely.
Wait, he had a tell that was just...
No. We just knew he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know. We knew how to bluff him really easily.
Gotcha.
Right?
Oh.
We knew how to just raise just enough that he thought it was like, oh, it won't kill me to call this, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just bled him dry, and he bought in again, and we bled him dry again, and then he finally left.
Wow. I kind of feel bad for him, but kind of not, because I know those type of people that get really cocky and
Mm-hmm. Suffice it to say, he never came back and never played with us again.
Wow.
We bled him a $50 and he never came back.
Oh my gosh.
It's I mean, it's funny. I've lost more money to those guys than I won, but one time I walked away with like $250 on a $25 buy-in.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, I had a big
good.
night. Yeah, I had a big night that night. It was a fun one. Everything was like clicking. I felt, I was like, I felt like I was in sync with everybody. I knew where their headspace were. I kept calling. It's like, I knew you had that, or I knew you didn't have that. I knew you were trying to bully right then. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny. I know we're kind of getting close to our time.
Yeah.
This pose is done, by the way, with us.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got the animations kind of in there. I mean, like I said, I might plus a little bit more, but the general feelings there. So yeah, success on that. But happy with this pose. We'll call that saved. But the other thing I was going to bring up about poker though is this whole idea. Like Rayman obviously made this a thing, but counting memorization, like knowing what cards have been dealt out, that's a skill too. It's a skill that a lot of human beings have innately, right? I mean, and that to me is what if you understand what's in front of you and what you have and what your
probabilities are.
The probabilities are, then you're even that much more potent at the table, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, and I know you have do you have a pretty good memory with that?
I have I have a really good memory. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so there we go. So that type of another reason why I would put money on you against your clone self.
I mean, look, in terms of my crew that play poker, I am middle of the pack, right? Like
really?
No, I'm not even close to the top. But my friends who are the top, I mean, they live and breathe poker, right? Like they have books, they study games. I mean, they're really, really into it, and more power to them. I mean, like, they are super into poker, but like I know esoteric horror movies that they've never heard of, right? It's just you pick your passion,
Yeah, sure.
And so anyway, I realized why my camera's not working actually.
Oh, you fixed it, huh?
I turned on OBS before I turned on Zoom. And so OBS is what's grabbing the camera feed, not Zoom. And so Zoom can't get access to my camera because you can only allow access to one app at a time for your camera. I realized that about like 15 minutes ago, and I'm just saying that now.
Gotcha. So the only way to fix it is to
end everything and start over from scratch. Yeah. So
right.
none of my beautiful face for this particular stream.
It's okay. Your booming voice was plenty enough.
Fair enough.
The whole serve. So.
I always say I've got a face for radio and a voice for the written word.
Well, Zoom decided to give a face for Zoom.
Apparently tonight. Yeah.
Blocking you tonight. Yeah.
Anyway, so we're at about 50 minutes. So then you're done with your pose. So I think that's pretty good. Let's see here. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Okay. Anyway, so if you enjoyed this nonsense, honestly, this was rare. We don't usually spend an hour talking about poker. in
Yeah.
arguing about who would be better at a sit-down game, Shaq or
I
me.
can't believe I used Shaq. I could use any
It
other
was it
player,
was a
but
weird direction to go, but
yeah.
we managed to circle that square and take what is basically an apples to orange argument, and I think within a standard deviation converted it into an apples and apples argument. But it involved cloning people with their natural aptitude and an assumption that they won't break the foundational rules of the game to get there. So a deeply hypothetical thought experiment, but an interesting one nonetheless. Suffice it to say, if you want more of this kind of scintillating nonsense, we we do this kind of stuff every week while James works on animating our silly little cartoon. Every once in a while, we'll actually talk about the cartoon, but mostly it's nonsense while James animates. Anyway, if you want to find out more, you can head over to calamityjane.rocks. That will take you to our Patreon site. Please consider becoming a patron and helping us make this cartoon a reality. In addition, you can find us on Facebook. Patreon and Facebook are where we do most of our show updates. You can check either one of those locations as you desire. We also have a Twitter page called @JaneSalamander. We do a weekly 3-tweet story where we reveal incredibly esoteric facts about the show that will not be revealed for like 5 seasons. And when we finally get there, you're gonna believe that we spend far too much time thinking about this show, but we do. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for me. So stay safe out there, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Night.